as always, yet again, at so many of these Let Women Speak events organised by the fabulous Kellie-Jay Keen. This time, the home of the suffragette Emily Davison, turning up in their balaclavas and their masks with their loud hailers, shouting down at women. Let's talk about this with the one and only Kellie-Jay Keen, who joins us now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Doris. Let's talk about what happened at your event. I mean, you do this all the time. You do these events, you just turn up, a bunch of women talking about, basically just women talking about the importance of women's sex-based rights and safety. And virtually every time, whether it's Hyde Park or the home of Emily Davison, men, largely, large male activists turn up and try and shout you down. What happened?
They do. Well, they turn up and, look, I'm not going to lie, they do amuse me. And I know some women find it off-putting and intimidating, and so they don't come. So there's a very serious side to what they do, because they do intend to stop women from speaking, but they really don't send their best. And
they're not the sharpest tools in the box, are they?
No, they don't even have rhyming slogans or chants, which... I just find it very funny. It turns me into some sort of stand-up comedian when I'm faced with them. But the very serious point is that there are people that won't come. They also try... I mean, somebody brought their children on that side to come and shout at middle-aged women, which I thought was so inappropriate. And it's often men, and they genuinely want to stop women from speaking. And what was particularly bad yesterday is they seemed to be very, very loud when women were telling the most vulnerable of stories, because we get a plethora of stories. We get incredible poems and speeches, and then sometimes we get very, very personal and painful stories, and they seem to think that was the most appropriate time to say the most vile things.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Again, it's simply women speaking. You're not sort of trying to trample on trans peoples or the activists. You're just saying we just want to have our say. Let Women Speak is the organisation. And they literally trying to stop you speaking with the megaphones, turning up. Very intimidating. I've seen a lot of these videos, often quite big blokes with the balaclavas and the masks. I don't know why they feel the need to cover their faces. You're not ashamed of what your views are. You don't cover your face. But often being very aggressive. And we've seen numerous videos at Hyde Park Corner, at Speaker's Corner, where women are being jostled, and frankly, the police have not acted soon enough. Very intimidatory behaviour. And you yourself have been, a victim of this repeatedly. And no one seems to stop them. But, I mean, what they demand is that you say only one thing, which is that trans women are women. Why do you think they are so needy about needing you to say something which you don't believe, and, frankly, that you and I and everybody sane knows is not true?
Well, because quasi-religious cults are very, very fragile, and so they need complete adherence. And if you deviate at all, if you question any of it... And I got into this by saying, does my 11-year-old daughter have the right to go in a female-only space and not see an adult appendage, male appendage?
Say the word, penis. Anyway, wait a minute. Do you not do your daily check on whether or not you've got one? Because Keir Starmer says some of us have got one.
I've only got them in the kitchen. Rest of the house, we don't have it. But, it's mind-blowing that they think the way that we're going to convince women to allow us in our spaces, and we had one of the Darlington nurses who's currently sitting in NHS to have a female-only space in a changing room. But the way we're going to convince those women is go and shout at them and scream at them in a park. And then they'll say, oh, by goodness, yes, of course you should come in.
It's almost like there was a reason why we didn't want men in changing rooms and toilets and refuges with us. I can't work it out. But again, this all ties in. Again, they're also homophobic. And again, we know, trans activists insisting that, that lesbian women, by definition, women, that they should be forced to have sex, have relationships with men who identify as if they're women, because otherwise they're transphobic. But then we saw the LGB conference on Friday, LGB Alliance conference, disrupted with people throwing bugs. I mean, that's virtually sort of terrorism. I mean, that is a blatantly, openly homophobic act. And yet everyone just kind of shrugs and doesn't think it's a big deal. If a gay group or a women's group did that to a trans conference, all hell would break out.
Well, this is what happens when you're actually just a group of heterosexual, entitled men leading the sort of trans activists. They're predominantly heterosexual men, and they just want a little bit of that oppression high.
They're just very angry men. I think they're more scared of us than angry at us. That's just sort of just give them a nice cup of tea, poor things. Poor dears, intimidated by little old you. Kellie-Jay Keen, you keep up the great work, my love, founder of Let Women Speak.